I never thought I would be the kind of woman who would throw her own son and daughter-in-law out of a hotel. But sometimes life forces your hand. It all started with a family vacation to Miami. A week at the Coastal Paradise Resort, a place I had poured my heart and soul into for years. Little did my son Jay and his wife Valentina know. I owned it. Every marble tile, every crystal chandelier, every perfectly manicured palm tree on the property, it was all mine. I'm Renee Carter, 72 years old, widow, self-made hotel empire owner of 17 properties across 3 states. And for 5 days, my own family treated me like the hired help. Here's what happened, and what I did next that left my daughter-in-law literally trembling. We had been planning this trip for months. At my age, chances to spend real time with Jay, his wife Valentina, and my 2 grandchildren don't come often. When Jay suggested a week in Miami, I was overjoyed. Maybe, just maybe, this would be the trip where Valentina finally warmed up to me. 5 years of marriage, and she had always kept me at arm's length, polite but cold. The 4-hour drive to the resort was torture. Jay and Valentina sat up front talking about spa packages, exclusive restaurants, and designer boutiques, as if I weren't sitting right behind them. Every time I tried to join the conversation, asking about the kids, suggesting a family activity, Valentina would give a curt one-word answer, and Jay would pretend he hadn't heard me at all. I should have seen the red flags. But love makes you blind. When we pulled up to the grand entrance of Coastal Paradise, my heart swelled with quiet pride. The valets in crisp white uniforms, the sweeping marble staircase, the fountain sparkling in the sunlight, I had designed every inch of it. It took me 3 years to acquire this property, and another 2 to renovate it into the crown jewel of my collection. Jay handed the keys to the valet like he owned the place. Valentina stepped out in huge designer sunglasses, blonde hair cascading in perfect waves, looking every bit the 35-year-old trophy wife she worked hard to be. "Remember," she whispered loudly to Jay as we walked toward the doors, "I want the penthouse suite. I don't care what they say about availability. Make it happen." He nodded obediently. It still broke my heart to see the strong, confident boy I raised reduced to a man who couldn't make a move without his wife's permission. We stepped into the lobby, my lobby, and I couldn't help but smile. The scent of fresh orchids, the soft jazz playing overhead, the sunlight pouring through floor-to-ceiling windows. It was perfect. Jasmine, my front desk manager of 8 years, looked up from the counter. Her eyes widened when she saw me. I gave the tiniest shake of my head. "Not yet. Good afternoon. Welcome to Coastal Paradise Resort," she said warmly. "How may I help you?" "Reservation under Carter," Jay said confidently. "We should have the penthouse suite." Jasmine's fingers danced across the keyboard. "I have your reservation, Mr. Carter. You're confirmed for our Coastal Paradise Deluxe Suite. Oceanfront, private balcony, absolutely stunning. Unfortunately, the penthouse is booked solid for your entire stay." Valentina's face turned to stone. "That's unacceptable," she snapped, loud enough for nearby guests to turn. "Do you know who we are? I specifically requested the penthouse when I booked." "I'm truly sorry for any confusion, Mrs. Carter," Jasmine replied calmly. "The deluxe suite is one of our finest. I don't want to hear about some second-rate room." Valentina cut in, voice rising. "I want the penthouse. Now." I stepped forward gently. "Valentina, honey, maybe we could." She whirled on me like I'd slapped her. "Don't you dare speak," she shrieked, pointing a manicured finger in my face. "Jasmine, or whatever your name is, ignore whatever this old woman says. She's not with us. She's just the help. We brought the nanny." The entire lobby went silent. My cheeks burned. My heart pounded in my ears. She wasn't finished. "Don't talk to the old woman," she screamed, jabbing her finger toward me. "She's just the servant. The babysitter. Don't waste your time on her." I stood frozen, mouth dry, unable to breathe. And then my son laughed. Not an awkward chuckle. Not a nervous laugh to defuse tension. He threw his head back and laughed like it was the funniest thing he'd ever heard. "Oh my God, Valentina," he wheezed, wiping a tear from his eye. "You're terrible. But you're not wrong. Mom, just go sit down somewhere, okay? Let us handle this." I felt the world tilt. This was my son. The boy I raised alone after his father died when he was 12. The boy I worked 18-hour days for. Scrubbed floors. Built an empire for. Sacrificed everything for. And he was laughing while his wife publicly humiliated me. Phones were out. People were recording. Whispers rippled through the lobby. Jasmine's face had gone pale. She knew exactly who I was. One word from me, and Valentina would have been escorted out by security before her Louis Vuitton bag hit the floor. But I said nothing. I picked up my small suitcase, held my head high, and walked toward the elevator. Behind me, Valentina kept screaming about the penthouse. As the elevator doors closed, I caught Jasmine's eye. She gave me a small, heartbroken nod. She was waiting for my signal. I wasn't ready to give it. Not yet. The next morning, I woke up in a room that should have been paradise, floor-to-ceiling ocean views, sunrise painting the sky in pink and gold, but I felt hollow. I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard her voice. She's just the help. And his laughter. A knock at the door. Jay stood there looking annoyed. We're going to breakfast. Valentina wants you to watch the kids by the pool afterward, so we can go to the spa. No good morning. No how did you sleep? No acknowledgement of what happened in the lobby. Just an order. Jay, I started quietly, about last night. He waved me off. Mom, don't make a big deal out of it. Valentina was stressed about the room. You know how she gets. Can we just move on? We're on vacation. A big deal. His wife called me a servant in front of strangers. He laughed. And it was no big deal. I swallowed the hurt. I'll watch the kids. He smiled like I'd just agreed to take out the trash. Great. We probably won't be back all day. Spa lunch, maybe shopping. That's fine, right? Of course it wasn't fine. But I nodded. In the dining room, Valentina had snagged the best table by the window. She was already barking orders at Terrell, my favorite waiter. I want fresh squeezed orange juice. Not that garbage from concentrate. And these eggs better be exactly 3 minutes, not a second more. My grandchildren Zuri 8 and Deshawn 10 sat silently staring at tablets. They barely looked up when I arrived. Good morning, sweethearts, I said softly, reaching to tuck a curl behind Zuri's ear. Valentina's hand shot out like a snake. Don't touch her hair. It was just styled. I pulled back like I'd been burned. Kids, say good morning to Grandma Renee, Jay muttered. Morning, they mumbled in unison, eyes glued to screens. I took the only seat left, the one with its back to the ocean view. That's when I heard the voices from a private cabana by the pool bar. Jay and Valentina. With another couple. I froze behind a palm tree. She's getting old, Valentina was saying casually. Old people don't live forever. If you catch my drift. The woman laughed. Valentina, you're awful. I'm practical, Valentina replied. Jay's an only child. Everything will be ours eventually. We're just waiting. My blood ran cold. Then the man asked, what about his mother? Doesn't she have money? Jay laughed. That same cruel laugh from the lobby. My mom? She's broke. Lives in a tiny apartment, barely scraping by on Social Security. I've been helping her out for years. Lie after lie. I own a $5 million penthouse. My investments bring in more monthly than most people make in a year. Valentina sighed dramatically. That's why this trip is so annoying. We have to drag her along because she can't afford anything herself. Like a pathetic pet you can't get rid of. More laughter. And when she needs real care? The woman asked. Over my dead body, Valentina sneered. She's going straight into the worst government home I can find. I'm not wiping her ass. Then Jay, my own son, said the words that broke me completely. The funny thing is she actually thinks she's somebody. Tells these delusional stories about owning businesses. Yesterday she told the kids she owns hotels. Can you imagine? They all roared with laughter. Valentina added, At least she's grateful for scraps. She has no idea we only brought her to babysit, so we could have fun. And Jay covers everything, her food, her bills, this whole trip. She's a total financial drain. Another lie. For years, I had been the one paying. Part of their mortgage. Private school tuition. Valentina's shopping sprees. Tens of thousands on my credit card every month. And they called me the drain. I stumbled away, hand over my mouth to keep from sobbing. They weren't just ungrateful. They were waiting for me to die. That was the moment something inside me snapped, not with rage but with cold, clear resolve. They wanted to treat me like a joke? Fine. I would show them exactly who they were laughing at. I pulled out my phone and called Jasmine. She answered immediately. Mom? Are you okay? Jasmine, I said, my voice steady as steel. It's time. That evening, when Jay and Valentina returned, tanned, tipsy, glowing from a day of luxury, they walked into my suite ready to drop off the kids and go to dinner. But I was standing in the doorway. We're ready to go out, Valentina said, brushing past me. You can put the kids to bed. No, I said calmly. You need to call the front desk and book another hotel. You're checking out in the morning. They stared at me like I'd lost my mind. What are you talking about, Mom? Jay asked. I heard everything, I said. At the cabana. Every word. About how I'm a burden. How you're waiting for me to die. How I'm delusional and poor and useless. Valentina's face twisted with rage. You were spying on us? I own this resort, Valentina, I said, voice rising like thunder. I have every right. I pulled a folder from my bag and handed it to Jay. Bank statements, wire transfers, tuition payments, mortgage contributions. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. His eyes widened as he flipped through it. You've been lying to me, he whispered to Valentina. She's the liar. Valentina screamed. She doesn't own anything. She's just a sad old woman who... The door opened. Jasmine walked in with 2 security officers. I was told there was a disturbance, Jasmine said professionally. Mrs. Renee Carter, Jasmine announced clearly, is the sole owner and founder of the entire Coastal Paradise Resort collection. 17 properties across the United States. She is our CEO. Our boss. And the reason every single one of us has a job. The color drained from Valentina's face. Jay just stood there, clutching the financial records, mouth open. You will be checking out tomorrow morning, I said, voice calm and final. And you will be paying for every cent of this trip. The suite, the spa, the meals, the drinks. All of it. It will be charged to your card. You can't do this. Valentina shrieked. Oh, I can, I said, smiling for the first time in days. And I am. I turned to my son. And you, Jay? The mortgage payments stop. The tuition payments stop. The credit cards? Cancelled. You're on your own. Mom, please, he started. You laughed while your wife called me a servant, I said. You told strangers I was delusional and poor. You made your choice. Security stepped forward. Valentina was shaking, actually trembling, as reality crashed down around her. They left the next morning. I watched from the balcony as they loaded their designer luggage into a rideshare. No valet, no VIP treatment. The penthouse? I moved into it that same day. For the first time in years, I slept peacefully. I learned something on that trip. Being alone is not the same as being lonely. And sometimes, the strongest family is the one you choose, not the one you're born into. They thought they were teaching me a lesson. They were right. I did learn something. I learned that I am worth fighting for, even if I have to fight alone. And that changed everything. This story is fictional, but inspired by real experiences of elder disrespect and family betrayal. Names and details have been changed. If you were in my shoes, would you have stayed silent to keep the peace? Or would you have finally spoken up and taken back your power? Let me know in the comments. Because every story shared is a light in the dark for someone still suffering in silence. God bless you all.